everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Liv. Today's yoga class is going to be power yoga. So not to be confused with advanced yoga. Power yoga doesn't mean that it's only for people that have been practicing a long time or aren't new to yoga. You can absolutely be a beginner and do power yoga. Power yoga is more, expect it to be sort of like quite heat building and a strong practice. So lots of strength work as well as flexibility and mobility. So let's get started. We're going to start down on our backs. So make your way down till you're lying onto your back, shoulders to touch the mat. And then curl your knees into your chest and just make yourself into a small ball to begin with. Think of thighs towards belly and heels towards your bum. Maybe just a little rock left to right. Give yourself a moment to settle in and feel focused and prepared for your practice. And then from here, from our little nugget shape, we're going to come into, I don't know if it's the official name, but dead bug. So your arms reach to the sky as though you're putting handprints on the ceiling, and your knees and legs are at 90 degrees with shins parallel to the floor. Then it's a little bit of a coordination game as well, but you're going to reach your left leg out in front of you as your right arm comes up above your head. And then switching over, so come back to your dead bug, switching out the legs, reach your left arm up above your right leg to reach forwards, and then back towards the centre. Making sure as you move so, that you're not actually touching down between the two. The leg and the arm are just hovering just a few centimetres off of the mat, moving one and then the other. I'm really focusing between the two on keeping your lower back pushed down against the mat. So there should be no little gaps, no space at all underneath your lower back. Keep it all squishing down. Now, as you move between these two shapes, if this is feeling quite easy for you, you can start to make it more difficult, or a lot more difficult, I should say, by doing both arms and both legs at the same time. So moving between dead bug and what is essentially like a hollow body shape. Now, making sure, particularly if you're doing both arms and both legs, and it's hard to talk as I do these, to keep that lower back pressing down. Now, if that means that your legs don't lower quite so close to the floor as you do so, then so be it. Good. We'll do a couple more, either single legs or double arms, your choice. A couple more, building that heat within the core, which is generally a good way of building heat throughout the entire body. Good, returning back to your dead bug and hug those knees back into your chest, giving yourself that tight little squeeze. And then from there, starting to roll forwards and backwards on the mat, keeping a nice rounded shape in your spine to allow yourself to roll, and seeing if you can then find your balance into boat pose. So you're on your sit bones. You can take your hands to the back of your thighs to allow yourself to find lift. If you're ready, you can release your arms alongside your shins. Think of your chest lifting to the sky and your shoulder blades drawing down your back. The legs don't need to be together, but imagine you're squeezing them in together. Take a nice big breath in as you stay lifted. And then as you exhale, cross your right shin in front of your left and come into a simple seated cross-legged seat. We're then going to take hold of our shin with the front shin with our hands. It's a little bit like cat and cow, but we're seated. So we're going to round the spine. Draw the chin in towards the chest as you puff your back out behind you. And then as you inhale, let your fingertips rest onto the mat behind you. Lift the chest, let the head drop back as you squeeze the shoulder blades together. Good. Exhale, rounding your back, hands to your shins, sort of pull against them to allow yourself to find that broad stretch across the upper back. And then hands onto the fingertips behind you. Inhale, lift the chest, opening into the front of the body. Good. One more of each. Hands to the shins, rounding the back, push backwards. And then as you inhale, fingertips behind you, broaden the space between the shoulder heads, nice and long across the front of the chest. Good, and then let yourself come back into your boat pose, so balancing on the sit bones, hands to either support the back of the thighs or reach them forwards towards the toes. If you've got relatively long hamstrings and they don't need the warm-up, you can attempt a straight-legged boat pose, so reach the toes to the sky, trying to not allow your body to sink back as you do so. Breathing in, keep the chest lifting. As you breathe out, left shin to cross in front. This time we're going to go all the way over the feet, hands onto the mat, and then stepping back and finding high plank. So making sure your shoulders are staying above your wrists. Press the heels out behind you. Keep your tailbone tucked under so that you're nice and strong, lifting the torso up and away from the mat. Keeping a nice spread between the shoulder blades. So you've got a nice engagement across your upper back and into your shoulders, pushing down through the whole palm of the hands. Good. Keep your breath nice and steady. Breathing all the way in and all the way out. Good. Staying again, breathing in and breathing out. And let's take one more breath all the way in. And then as you breathe out, take a little bend in the knees. We're moving the hips to the sky, coming into downward facing dog. So if you need to have a little shuffle of your hands and your feet, then allow yourself to do so. And if you want to do a quick pedal of the legs, walking the dog, as they say, then as one knee bends deeply, the other heel gets a chance to press a little bit closer to the mat. Keep that broadness across your upper back, shoulder blades wrapping around the torso, and then let your legs become still. Find a stationary downward facing dog. Keep hugging the ribs in towards the spine, pressing the sit bones up, pressing the thighs backwards, finding that lovely, nice upside down V shape. And then as you inhale, look forwards towards the top of the mat. Use your exhale, walk your feet in, little steps at a time, keeping your feet hip distance apart once you get to the top of the mat, and taking a ragdoll fold, so a soft bend in the knees, belly to rest against the thighs. Your arms can dangle or you can cross them if you prefer. If you want to take a little sway from left to right, then that can feel nice too. Just let your head be really, really heavy, so there's no tension, nothing going on in the neck. Elbows are heavy, pulling down towards the mat to help you lengthen into the back of the legs. Great, and then keeping a nice rounded spine, taking your hands to your waist, tuck the chin towards the chest and roll through the body, stacking the vertebrae on top of one another until you come all the way up to stand, to the top of the mat, into your Tadasana. So feet to come together, arms alongside the body, roll the shoulders back so you're broadening across the chest. As you inhale, take your arms to the sky, gaze up. And then as you exhale, forward fold, soften the knees if you need to so you can touch the floor, then dangle the head. Inhale, halfway lift, flatten out the spine, perhaps take your hands to your shins here. Exhale, hands to the floor, stepping the feet back into plank and pausing here as you breathe in. As you breathe out, perhaps dropping your knees for support, you're going to shift your weight forwards, lower halfway down towards the mat. And from there, as you inhale, then press your way back up into your supported plank and then tuck the toes, hips to the sky and into down dog. Good, so it's like our sun salute, but instead of our back bend, we are doing a little Chataranga Pushup. If you are experienced with your Chaturanga practice, of course, and you know better, you can not use the knees, but making sure you're not sacrificing your form, knees to go down as you start to fatigue. As you inhale, look forwards towards your hands. You can jump this time if you like. Exhale, make your way back to the top of the mat. Use the inhale to halfway lift. Spine is nice and long. Lift the kneecaps. Exhale to fold over the legs, dangling the head. Think of forehead towards knees or shins. Inhale, rise up to stand. Keep the belly hugging in, arms alongside the ears, gaze up. Exhale once again, folding over the legs. Push the hips to the sky and release through the shoulders and the neck. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the floor, stepping back, find plank. Push the heels backwards, broaden across the upper chest, breathing in. As you breathe out, we'll do a halfway lower, with or without knees, but elbows stay glued to your rib cage, halfway down. Pause. Inhale, press it back up, tuck the toes, hips back to the sky, downward facing dog. Good, just a short pause in our down dog, let the thighs press backwards, a little rolling in of the thighs to get into each part of the hamstrings on the back of the leg. Inhale, looking forwards, just past the fingertips. Exhale, jumping or walking your feet in to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway rise. Exhale, fold over the legs, dangling the head. Inhale, rising up to stand. Thighs squeeze together. And one more round the same as you exhale, hands to the floor. Soften the neck, dangle the head. Inhale, halfway lift. If you want to jump back straight to your chaturanga, go ahead. Otherwise, hands down, step back, plank. Inhale into your plank. Exhale, halfway lower. Remember, shoulders are coming in front of your fingertips. Pause halfway down. Maybe see if you can hold just another breath here. Inhale. Exhale, press it back up to your plank or supported plank. Hips to the sky and into down dog. Broad across the upper back. Knit the ribs in towards the hip bones. Lower back is nice and straight. Inhale, look forwards. Exhale, stepping or jumping, feet to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway rise. And as you exhale, folding over the legs. Good. Inhale, all the way up to stand. Reach the arms to the sky, arms by the ears. As you exhale, allow yourself to refold, taking the hands to the mat, dangle the head. Use your inhale to halfway lift. And then if you're trying to work on your jump back, you can place your hands to the floor, little bend in the knees. You're going to jump back, and as you land, lower your body halfway to the floor, elbows gluing in towards the ribs. Use the inhale to press your way back up to high plank. Little bend in the knees as you push the hips to the sky and into down dog. Once you're there with an inhale, right leg is going to lift to the sky for three-legged dog. As you exhale, draw the knee underneath the body. See if you can tap your right elbow or just get as close to it as you can. As you inhale, send the leg all the way back to the sky. Exhale again, draw the leg under the body, round the upper back. See if you can tap. Inhale, back to the sky. Exhale, last time, draw it underneath. See if you can tap, hold the knee here against the arm. Get it as high up towards the armpit as you can. Keep pressing into the hands to lift up and away from the mat. Back heel pushes away from you. Hold the knee here, breathe in. As you breathe out, pop the foot between the hands. Help it if it didn't quite make it there. Keep your back knee lifted, press away through the back heel, and then lifting your torso, finding your way into a high lunge. Front knee on top of the front ankle, pressing away through that back leg to keep it straight and strong. As you breathe in, think of lifting the chest. And as you breathe out, perhaps see if you can sink the hips a little further down towards the front edge of the mat. Good. Breathe in, keep tall through the chest. As you breathe out, you're going to drop your back heel down to the mat, coming to find warrior two. Front heel is aligned with the arch of the back foot. Broaden the arms alongside your shoulders, in line with your shoulders, with the palms facing the floor. Front knee is pushing out towards the right side of the mat. Keep your tailbone tucked under and your torso right on top of your pelvis. Keep breathing in here. If you want to challenge yourself, you can widen the stance between your front and back foot. Keep sinking the hips forwards and down. On your next exhale, let your forearm come to rest onto the front thigh. Left arm to reach up, either towards the ceiling or perhaps go a little further, taking it all the way over towards the front edge of the mat. Now, choosing to stay here with a light support in your arm. Don't dump all of your weight down into the leg. Or if you want to challenge yourself, see if this arm can simply float in front of the leg. So you're using your core muscles to hold your body in your extended side angle. You can use this arm at the front to keep the knee moving wider. Reaching that left arm as far away towards the front of the room as you can, nice and long through that left side body. Use your next inhale, rise all the way back up to your warrior two. Keep those hips sinking low, front leg is working hard. And then as you exhale, windmill your hands to the floor, turn all 10 toes to face forwards, and then step back into your down dog. No rest for the wicked. Inhale, left leg, reach it up. Exhale, draw it underneath the body, tapping that left elbow or higher. Inhale, all the way back to the sky. Exhale, underneath the body, tap. Aim for that armpit, just get as close to the leg as the arm as you can. Inhale, back to the sky. Exhale, last time, draw it under and then hold. Press the elbow or the arm and the leg together. So the arm is pushing towards the leg is pushing towards the arm, back leg is straight and strong, push away through the heel. Then inhale here. On the exhale, place the foot right at the top of the mat between the hands. Help it if it needs help. Keep that back knee lifted. Once you're there, lifting your torso, rising into your high lunge, taking those arms alongside the ears and sinking your hips low. Push away through that back heel as though you're trying to push it down towards the floor, lifting the ribs away from the hips to lengthen out the torso. Lifting up as you breathe in and sinking down
as you breathe out. Good, take one more inhale. On the exhale, drop that back heel down. Find that tightrope alignment. So the heel and the arch, if you're on a tightrope, you'd be balancing on there. Keep your bum tucked under so that your hips are trying to open along the front line of the body. Shoulders pin back, palms face the floor, and take your gaze towards your front fingertips. You can keep allowing your weight to sink into that front leg, but press down through the little toe edge of your back foot and feel that stretch along the front of that back thigh, sort of where the thigh meets the torso. And then from here, breathe in. As you breathe out, left forearm gently onto the left thigh, right arm either towards the ceiling or take it alongside your ear towards the front of the mat. Keep those hips sinking forwards and down, drop them forwards. Press down through the back foot and either holding here or testing your strength and letting that arm just dangle. I say dangle, it's got to stay active. Letting the arm come away from the front thigh. Using that arm to keep pushing the left leg a little bit more towards the left. Sink forwards and down, drop those hips, right arm reaching over. Nice big breath here. Exhale, let your hands come to the mat. Stepping your foot back all the way into down dog. And pressing the heels down, lengthening out through the upper body. And taking a couple of nice deep breaths. Great. Inhale, look forwards towards your hands. Exhale, jumping your feet. Think hips high, landing as lightly as you can when you jump. Inhale to halfway lift. Chest is out long in front of the thighs. Exhale to forward fold. Think of forehead coming in towards your knees. Inhale, rising up to stand. Draw the belly in as the arms reach high. And as you exhale, forward fold. Taking the hands to the mat. Dangling the head soft through the back of the neck. Inhale, halfway lift. You can jump back, you can step back. If you're jumping, hands go down, land lightly at the back of the mat. Halfway lower, keep your elbows squeezing in. Inhale, press it back up to your high plank. Little bend in the knees, hips go high and into your down dog. Lovely. So with the right leg, again, as you inhale, send the toes to the sky. As you exhale, draw the foot forwards just as before, as though you were going to tap that right elbow, and feel free to give it a tap. Then we're placing the foot wide for a lizard lunge, so wider than the right hand so that the torso and the hands are on the inside of this front leg. Press your back heel away from you. Again, the back leg wants to stay as straight as it can be. Leave the left hand down onto the mat, and as you inhale, send your right arm up to the sky. Push your front foot down into the mat as though you're trying to make a little footprint, nice and strong. Exhale, right hand comes to the floor. Now place your right hand right next to your right foot. The balance is going to be trickier this side. Inhale, send the left arm to the sky and turn the chest to face it. Good. Try and keep the left hip point pulling forwards, right hip point pushing backwards to keep the pelvis steady. And then you can stay here or try the bind, and the balance will be difficult here. Left hand drapes over your lower back. Right hand that's on the floor hooks underneath the thigh. Maybe finds those fingertips. Keep your chest and your gaze turning towards the ceiling, dropping your hips forwards and down. Breathe in. As you breathe out, release your hands. Good, let the hands come back to the floor. Turn your front foot out at about 45 degrees, your hands to walk a little bit forwards, and then step your back foot in to mirror the front foot as we come into a little yogi squat. So the weight is sinking down towards the heels. You can keep the heels lifted into a little onto the balls of your feet if your heels will not touch down. Use your hands to come together, and then as you lower your hands towards your belly, let your elbows lever your thighs that little bit wider. Trying to take the weight into the edges of the feet, so the little toe edge of the foot, and keeping your chest stacked up on top of your pelvis. Now from here, you can stay as you are, or if you want to make it a little fierier, lift your heels off the mat, coming as high up onto the balls of your feet as you can. Benny, so coming as high up onto the balls of your feet as you can. Keep that chest lifted. Good. So into our tippy toe malasana. And then from here, let your heels drop back down, your hands to come to the mat, and you can have a little go at your crow pose. So from crow pose, well, so for those that want a little of guidance in crow pose, the hands come down like a plank. Draw your knees in towards your triceps, squish them together, allow your chest to come forwards, look way, way out in front of your hands. Maybe the toes can leave the mat, maybe you can do 1 foot at a time. And if you have found your crow pose, perhaps you want to use this opportunity to jump back, trying your jump back into Chaturanga. Otherwise, you can step down and step into plank. So, excuse me a moment while I move my dog. Good boy. So if you're doing your little jump back from crow, you're thinking of keeping your hips high, you're powering your feet to the back of the mat, landing halfway down. Press your way back into high plank, which is where we will all meet, and then little bend in the knees, hips to the sky, and into down dog. Good. So keeping that upper body nice and strong, we're going to inhale, rock forwards into plank. Exhale, soften the knees, roll back, down dog. Inhale, rolling forwards, plank, shoulders over the wrists, little bend in the knees, roll back, downward facing dog. One more time. Inhale, forwards to plank. Exhale, little bend in the knees, roll back and into down dog. Good, so from down dog, we're going to step the elbows down into dolphin. So so dolphin is just like down dog, but we are on the forearms. Palms are going to stay flat against the floor, gazing back towards the feet, and maybe you can work on walking your feet a bit closer in towards your face. Keep pressing the sit bones up, push the elbows down into the mat. Chest is pushing back towards the thighs, hands are pushing down into the mat. Breathing in. And as you breathe out, let yourself rest down onto your knees. Keep your toes tucked behind you. Let yourself come all the way up so that you're sitting onto your own heels. And if your little toe hasn't quite tucked under, then just tuck it under. So you're getting a stretch into the soles of your feet, I hope you can see. So just have yourself a moment there to take a breath and perhaps just to give the shoulders a rest, as we just have one nice burst of energy towards the end of this class. Sorry, I've got a very clingy puppy today. If you have a block, you might want to work with a block here, as we're doing little kicks towards the sky. So I'm going to demo it with a block for those that need. So we're going to come back onto the forearms. My hands are going to frame the block in an L shape like this. So just as before, my hands and the forearms are down onto the floor, or down against my mat. I'm going to tuck my toes, lift my hips back into dolphin. Now I am trying to crush that block between my hands. I am pushing in against the block. I'm also pushing my elbows down against the floor, trying to bring the crown of my head as far away from the mat as I can. I'm now going to take my gaze down between my forearms. Very important here. Gaze down between your forearms. We're going to lift the right leg to the sky for three-legged dolphin. Option to stay here or take 3 little tiny jumps with the left leg. So bending the knee, go for 1. Bending the knee, go for 2. Maybe you can find balance here. Bending, going for 3. And then allow yourself a short little rest onto the knees to allow your shoulders a moment to recover. Then coming to the other side. So once again, press the elbows down, push the block into the mat. And then allow yourself to come up into dolphin. This time, it's going to be the left leg that reaches up. And I want you to think of the second leg, the one that's going to leave the floor. I want you to think of kicking your own bum. So you're looking between your forearms. The leading leg is going to reach to the sky. We're going to go 1. We're going to go 2. Try and kick your own bum. We're going to go 3. If you find a point of balance, you can hold it here for a moment. If you've got a little bit more juice in the tank, maybe you can turn your 3s into 5s. But just ensure you've got a little bit of rest in between so that you've got enough energy and strength to go again. So you're going to give one more time on each side. So we're going to lead with the right leg this time. So back into dolphin, look towards the mat, lift the right leg. That right leg is going to think of poking a hole in the ceiling. The left leg is going to go for 1, kick your own bum. Go for 2, again, see if you can kick your own bum. Go for 3, keep pressing your elbows down, keep looking between your forearms and allow yourself a moment to rest. Good, try not to get too frustrated if things aren't happening for you the way that they want, or perhaps if you're pets are pestering you. And then we do one last time on the other leg, just to see how things feel different on one side than the other. Forearms down, squish that block, or keep your palms pressing down if you're not using a block. This time it's going to be the left leg to reach the sky. That left leg is going to poke a hole in the ceiling. Take a jump for 1, kick your own bum. Go for 2, maybe another kick of your bum. And then go for 3, and maybe you find a point of balance. Once you have finished with your little drills here, let your knees go wide, your big toes to touch and sit onto your heels. Coming down into child's pose. And keep your arms nice and elongated above your head, reaching out to the top of the mat. Maybe give them a little push against the floor to sink your hips lower towards your heels. And then allow your hands to walk all the way in. Let your knees come together. You're still sat onto the tops of your feet, so the toes aren't tucked under. Then you're going to think of allowing your belly to go over your thighs. We're bringing the very, very top of the head towards the mat, so the chin is to the chest. The hands are going to go alongside the legs and hold onto the heels. We're coming into rabbit pose for those that know it. Keep the very crown of the head onto the floor. Keep hold of your heels tightly as you lift your bum away from your heels and feel that stretch across your upper back as you draw against your own feet and push the hips to the sky. Trying not to push too much weight into your head. You're just looking for a stretch across your upper back and your chin to stay nicely tucked in towards your chest. Good, allow yourself to sit your hips back down. Roll yourself all the way up so that you're kneeling high up onto your shins. I'll say high up, low onto your shins. Take a moment to roll the shoulders back and just make sure that you are with yourself. You're not feeling a little bit lightheaded in any way. And then we're going to spin the legs round to come onto our bums and then slowly allow yourself to roll the body down onto the mat, just where we started. Curling those knees in towards your chest, thighs coming back towards the belly, heels coming back towards your bum. Again, maybe a soft rock from left to right against the mat. And then you can take both knees across to the left side of the mat. You can take one knee if you know a deeper twist variation, and your right arm out in the opposite direction with your palm facing the sky. You can choose to rest your left hand onto your thighs if you want to give them an extra little sink. If you want to deepen the twist, let that top leg cross over the left. So that top knee is the one that touches down to the mat. And then allow yourself to roll back to the centre and all the way over to the other side, knees to go to your right. Maybe you want to deepen it, let the top leg sink down over the top of the left. And then your left arm, reaching out in the opposite direction. You can take your gaze to that hand. Take some nice deep breaths to try and slow the breath, slow the thoughts here a little, winding down. And then rolling yourself back to centre. Hugging the knees to the chest, and one way or another allow yourself to come back up to a seated position. Allow yourself to sit comfortably. If you want to take a Shavasana at this point for your own practice, to give yourself just a couple of moments of rest after such a energy expending class, then hopefully you've got perhaps time for your rest. Otherwise, that's the end of the class. Thank you so much for practicing with me, and I hope to see you back on my channel soon.